Hello, welcome to 8.9 News. I'm Costain. The Bath West Showground will host LandAlive, a new two-day event that will make the case for transition to a more localised, regenerative farming and food system. The Royal Bath West Society, which runs the showground, has also announced a competition as part of the event for 2 bursaries for the fantastic Routes to Regeneration training course, each worth £2,500. I spoke to Carol Paris, the Chief Executive of the Royal Bath West Society, and Tamara Giltsoff, one of the LandAlive event organisers. I started by asking Carol why one of the oldest agricultural organisations in Britain is supporting the transition to regenerative farming.
Well, we were established in 1777, actually, to educate in agriculture. And never has education in agriculture been more relevant than it is today when we've got this climate emergency. And we must support our sort of rural economies, our farming communities in particular, to evolve and to respond to the increasing impacts of climate change. As well as the threat of nature loss for agriculture. And this is really applicable to all of our membership.
You mentioned your history there, and of course it can be very difficult to make a living from the land. Do you see regenerative farming as an economic opportunity?
Absolutely, I do. I think the challenge that the farmers will have is just making that transition, because sort of regenerative farming it's a movement that's happening in food and farming, and it's a transition happening within our farming system. And it offers approaches to farming that will prioritise outcomes for climate and nature, lead to food resilience, but it can also lead to sort of better yields and better economic impact for the farming community.
And of course, the joy of the Bath West Showground is that it can showcase practical approaches to regenerative farming.
Absolutely, and we really want to support both the farming community and our membership in the Southwest during this period of transition.
The Bath West Showground is of course located in the southwest of Great Britain. Would you say that the Southwest has a character that's unique in terms of farming and land use?
Yes, I would. We have quite a lot of people farming in protected landscapes, so Exmoor, Dartmoor, so those sort of places are really important to us. But grazing livestock is about 47% of our of farming in this area, and general cropping about 22%. And the average farm size here is around about 70 hectares, which is the second smallest in the UK. So it is quite a unique sort of demographic and area. And dairy, of course, is a very big part of the theme in the Southwest. We hold the dairy show here, which is the largest dairy show in the UK. So that's absolutely crucial. And the UK's dairy sector is going to need to be at the forefront of the transition to a regenerative system, because it's very exposed to the impacts of the industry on climate and nature.
Tamara, why is the relationship with the Bath West so important for LandAlive?
Yeah, just very briefly, LandAlive is a new event happening on the 22nd to the 23rd of November, a regenerative agriculture and food systems event. And we felt it was critical to join up in partnership with the Bath West because of its long history and its presence, its place-based presence in the whole of the Southwest. But as Carol has said, the Bath West has really long-standing relationships with the agricultural community, very broadly, not just the farming community, but the agricultural industry. And then we also see organisations like the Bath West across the country playing a really important role in this transitionary period. So yeah, we're really delighted to be putting this event on in partnership with the Bath West, and its phenomenal facilities as well.
It seems that this relationship presents a perfect synergy between an organisation concerned with the specific issues of today and a much more traditional agricultural organisation. Is that fusing of modern and traditional ideas and concerns important for the transition?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I mean, transition for me says it all, right? It's a journey. We're in the midst of change, and change means unlikely candidates coming together on, different people coming together. It means collaboration, it means learning, it means different perspectives. And this is a great example of a very long-standing organisation that is working with a new organisation on a new agenda, which is regenerative agriculture and regenerative economies. So with LandAlive, we're thinking very, very much about food and farming, but we're also thinking about the broader system around it. And we're really interested in that more systemic impact that we can have. And we see Bath and West as part of that.
When you say regenerative economies, do you see regen farming as being at the centre of rural economic renewal and indeed as a catalyst for the national economy more broadly?
I think what's happening in agriculture is really pioneering, actually, and I think the rest of the economy has a lot to learn from the transition happening. Ultimately, agriculture, food, and the food system is embedded within a wider economic system. And so you can't really isolate the two. But what's exciting is that it's happening on the ground within agriculture first in many ways. So that is very interesting to me and interesting with this endeavour.
Tamara, are you hoping that the relationship with the Bath and West will become long-term, or is LandAlive just going to be a one-off event?
Absolutely, long-term. We have to remain humble. We are a startup. This is our first event. So we will have lots of learning through this process. And we are really, really honoured to have so many pioneers from the regenerative movement joining us as speakers and exhibitors at the event. But we do see this as a long-term play. We would love for it to be as big as the dairy show eventually is, and or Groundswell. We have the space to do it. We're not in competition. This is very place-based, as I said, so this is regional. I'm sure it will end up having a slightly different flavour to others like Groundswell. But we do see it as a longer term initiative. And importantly, we see it as an ongoing initiative throughout the course of the year. So we are planning on creating some spaces for the convening to continue, for community to be built, for the learning to continue. And I know that we're just about to talk about the launch of a new prize, which very much speaks to that. So yes, absolutely.
So let's move on to that prize. And Carol, the Royal Bath and West Society is not only supporting the conference, as we've discussed, but it's also sponsoring a competition for 2 Routes to Regeneration bursaries. How has that come about?
Well, it's the first time we're introducing it. It's a new prize. It's for farmers, and it's actually made possible by the Worshipful Company of Grocers Prize Fund. So one of our honorary show director, Rupert Uloth, was the master of that worshipful company, and therefore has donated this prize to us to be formally launched at the LandAlive event, which we are incredibly excited about. It's going to be a very simple application. The prize fund is to stimulate innovation in farm business models in response to climate change, biodiversity loss, soil health, animal welfare, and importantly, farmer well-being. So we're offering to 2 farmers a bursary of £2,500 each to support the cost of the 2-year programme to go towards their course fees, and see how they can then utilise that learning to change their business models and help them to make that transition.
Tamara, I wonder whether you could tell us a bit more about the Routes to Regeneration training and then talk us through the details of the competition.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Routes to Regeneration learning programme is a 2-year programme which has been co-founded by Caroline Grinrod and Claire Hill. Caroline is a big systems thinker and has a huge amount of experience as a regenerative agriculture leader within the space, is very, very well known, and very much sort of roots the learning in the bigger system, actually, which is very powerful. Claire Hill, I know you know, and your readers, your listeners know very well, because she's been on this podcast, is a farmer. She has a demonstration farm in Shropshire. And so the programme really is made up of the combination of these 2 elements. One is very practical and technical learning of what it means to work with the soil, plant and animal systems, through to thinking about the bigger picture of the farm and the business model of the farm and the context of which the farm sits in, so the local economic context. So it's a very powerful course, and there's a key part of it really is also personal development. So as a farmer participating on the course, or indeed as somebody else within the farming or food system, really thinking about what your role is within this transition. How do you want to design a business model around your needs? So it's a hugely powerful course.
And tell us the details of how people can win the bursaries.
So there are two prizes of 2,500 available as a sort of bursary to contribute to the cost of participating in the Routes to Regeneration program. It will be made available to two farmers, and we will be officially launching it at the LandAlive event. So this is an unofficial plug. Yeah, it will be a very sort of lightweight competition. Really, we're interested in hearing. So we'll be asking farmers to submit just an overview of their objectives, wanting to participate in the course, and a sense of their availability. And we will be, it'll be a very simple application process, which will be reviewing, and then we'll sort of complete by the end of the year, and we'll make decisions in January. The course starts in February.
And is this prize specifically available to farmers who attend the LandAlive conference?
Not only for farmers that attend the conference, we will be launching it there, and we really hoped that it will encourage farmers to come to the conference and participate. Claire and Caroline will be at the conference. They're both speaking. We'll have an exhibition stand, so they'll be available to meet people. But it's not only open to people that are attending the conference.
That was Carol Paris from the Bath West Showground and Tamara Giltsoff from LandAlive, which takes place on the 22nd and 23rd of November. More news as ever on our website 8.9.com. That's all for now. We're back soon. Thanks for watching.